Hey guys, TerrorPUP here, and forgive me for a couple seconds. We're gonna have it, uh, my overhead light off for a second because I want to show you guys this. I got a new board in, okay, and it's the Banana Pi M4 Berry. It's an Allwinner CPU. We're gonna put it into a caddy for my desktop rack, and now with that, we'll turn that on. Okay. It's just a little bit hard to show. One light kind of washes out one camera where the other looks fine. So, all right. So, we'll open up the bag. Probably a good thing the camera's not on my face because I have to use my teeth. All right, so here's the board. Okay. And nice little board. It is a Pi 3 format, and you always can tell that because Pi 4s will be over here, Pi 3s will be over here, and that's the Ethernet connector. Okay, same size, credit card size. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to kind of go around real quick and show what things are. So we have 4 USB to A slots, a gig Ethernet audio. Then we have a user key, which I assume means that we can program it, HDMI. Then we got a reset key. This is the USB OGT or USB Type C. This will be powering the board. Okay, infrared. And then real tiny, we have our LEDs. Okay, continue around. Here's our Wi-Fi and Bluetooth. We have an additional where we can hook up an antenna to it. All right, and then over here, we have an FEL key, our 40-pin headers, and our 2 gigs LDM RAM. There's our Allwinner, and then our 8 gig eMMC, and then we have a power over Ethernet header over here, and way back here are our UART or debugger pins. Okay, and then we'll flip it over real quick. And then there is our SD slot. And that's pretty much it on the bottom. Okay. All right, so I have it in the caddy, and we're going to go around real quick. And this to show it off better, I've switched camera angles. So we have our 1 gig Ethernet, our 1, 2, 3, 4 USB to A, and then we're going to start on this side where we have our UAT connectors, power over Ethernet, our 40-pin GPIO. Next, we have a connector for an antenna. Now, I'm a little bit disappointed. There wasn't an antenna in the box, so I'm going to see if I can find one to buy for that, because that would be nice. And then here we have an FEL key, our Bluetooth and wireless, infrared receiver, which in my caddy is not going to be very useful. But the next thing is we have USB-C, the reset key, HDMI out. This is a user key. This is a 3.5 audio and video jack, and one day I'll show you guys there is a cable that you can actually hook up into this, and you can actually hook into old TVs. So if you're someone who's into retro gaming, and it does RF out on video and audio. Very nice to have. Okay, here's our 2 gigs of LP DDR4, our Allwinner H618, and we have 8 gigs of eMMC. Okay, now one other thing I want to show off real quick. So normally when you install these caddies, if you look, okay, here's the SD slot and here it is here. It's kind of center in the board. If you're following my screwdriver. On the Banana Pi M4 Berry, it's slightly off to the side. And part of the reason I want to point this out is when you're using boards, like to me, the minute I see that the Ethernet is on this side, I'm thinking, okay, Banana 3 form factor, so I should be able to use cases with that. But because this is here, I'm not going to be able to do that. And I'm thinking the reason they did that was because of the RF chip. But anyway, wanted to point out that is a little bit different. Okay, so we're going to hook it up, install Ubuntu on it, and get that up and running. All right. All right. Before we put the OSs on it, let's go ahead and review from the web page. I have all 3 tabs up there are useful, and I will put them in the description. The first page we're looking at is the Banana Pi product page, and as you can see here, lovely illustration, the Banana Pi M4 Berry. It's an Allwinner H618 quad core. The Banana Pi M40 is also an H618. So we have an ARM Mali G31. We have Wi-Fi, Bluetooth. Again, 2 gigs of eMMC memory, 1 USB-C Type-C for the power, 4 USB 2 Type A's, HDMI 2.0. Again, like I said, the audio and TEV jacks, and the 1 gig of Ethernet connector. As I showed you guys earlier, you know, the layout of the board, very nice. And as I also stated, yes, the HDMI port is off center, but now I can see they have some chips up underneath it, so that kind of makes sense. They have a video where they have introduced it, and like I said, it's pretty nice. So let's go over, this is the old wiki, and there's Android and there is Ubuntu. And as you scroll through the page, it'll show you the different ones that you can install. And just kind of scrolling through it real quick. Go over here to the new page. So the wiki, like I said, is their older one. They've adopted this new Banana Pi dock, and this is very lovely. This is what I was telling you guys. So the M4 Berry and the M4 Zero are using the same chipset. If you click here and get started, you can jump down to the bottom and skip all the other stuff that we were talking about. Now, they are recommending this Phoenix Suite tools, and I'm just going to let you guys know this wants you to hook up the device. So you select your firmware here, which is this next picture. Okay, and you load it, and then, sorry, I don't know the Chinese here, but then it'll flash it. I can show you essentially what I saw. I was able to use a different Phoenix tool, and I was able to get the image, and we'll show you here in a minute what it looks like. Okay, Ubuntu is on here. It is what they say called the beta version. One of the things I want to give praise to Banana Pi 4 is the fact that it is using X-Face. It's very light face. I know they have GNOME shown here, but the image is X-Face. It is beautiful. It works very nicely. In fact, if I were them, I would update their images. But this is their new docs page. As you can see, it has a lot of information. It is very useful. Okay, with that, I'm going to go ahead and install Ubuntu onto a SD card, and I'm going to install Android onto the eMMC. Okay, and we'll go from there. But I'm going to put these links into the demo page, and we'll go from there. All right. As you can see, we now have the Banana Pi running Ubuntu. And I did a few things off screen because I wanted to save some time. So the first thing I did was I installed Chromium. And because this is Ubuntu, it's using snaps, which I really wish they wouldn't. But, you know, it is what it is. It looks like everything is becoming containerized. But I did that. I didn't see Firefox on there as well, so I assumed I installed it. It could have been there. It just needed the snaps to be initialized. But those two are there now. The other thing I did was I like to listen to music, and since Snap is here, I wanted to see if they had shortwave. I know Flatpaks has shortwave, and for those of you that don't know what this is, I'll show it to you real quick. If you're like me, and believe it or not, I was really hoping to be in radio, but yeah, things didn't work out that way, and you guys have me explaining computer stuff because this is my hobby. But anyway, shortwave is a cool little program where you can find radio stations on the internet. And I like a jazz station that I used to listen to. God, I've been listening to this thing for almost 25 years or more. It's a good little radio station. I personally love old-time radio shows. Hopefully we'll
to watch him while he played. He was Frankie's man, but she was horrible.
but that's one of the radio stations. So it's a nice little program. It is a Snap program. Okay. I love the wallpaper. Again, I like the fact that it's X-Face. So kudos Banana Pie for not running GNOME. GNOME is great, don't get me wrong, but X-Face is very lightweight. If you want to get lighter than X-Face, run Window Maker. But no, X-Face, it's great. For those that are transitioning from another OS, X-Face is very much like using Apple OS, in my opinion. Okay, so just to show you guys, we'll run HTOP, and we're not using that much memory. We're using about 480 megs out of the 2 gigs that are on here. And it's running pretty well. I mean, the CPUs are not pegged. This is probably my third or fourth Allwinner boards. So I'm kind of impressed with it. It'd be nice to see if, you know, if Allwinner can make, you know, processors that can use more memory. I've been told that a lot of times the reason you see like, you know, some of these boards with less than, you know, 8 megs memory is because of the processor. But anyway, so let's go ahead. And I'm going to do a follow-up video on this because I want to get some applications working on here. I might do a little bit of retro gaming, and I'd like to see how media play works on here. Now, one thing I want to note, so I like X-Face, I really do. And one of the things that I love about X-Face is the Docker like panel. So when you install the Ubuntu version from Banana Pie, this is not going to be here. This is something that I always set up after an OS. And the reason I do that is I can click here. I have all my menus here. It's really nice because, you know, I could go up there and then, you know, I got my file system here, you know, where I can just pull it up real quick. And then a lot of distros they use multi-term, I think it is. I just don't like the layout of multi-term. I really love X-Face's terminal. To me, it's one of the best ones out there. Part of the reason I like it is it does transparencies very well. And a great way, guys, to kind of test the GPU of a given small board computer, try transparencies. Okay, a lot of your cheaper GPUs cannot do transparencies. Good example, if you're old enough like I am, when Windows 7 came out, you really needed a decent video card for Aereo to do transparency on the menu bar. All right. So we're going to go up here real quick. Go to YouTube. And I have burnt the Android TV to an image because I want to try it out. I told you guys I was thinking not about doing that, but I am going to go ahead and do that. And we're going to let it burn to the eMMC because that's probably the best way to do it. Okay. And I know the Phoenix tool that they're showing, I'll show you guys a different way of doing it. But anyway, so we're going to just come down, find something that's not going to get us flagged. All right, so so before I do that, I'm gonna do one thing real quick, because again, I don't want to get flagged just right away. And we are gonna make this big. So I'm gonna go ahead and select that. And YouTube is really, really pushing the commercials. And you can't really escape out of them. I know content creators get paid for it. Oh, that's not the video I selected. Let's go back. But playback's pretty good. Let's go ahead and drop it up to 1080p. Yeah, we're really dropping here, so let's drop it down a little bit. Normally about 720p I get real good playback. Still getting dropbacks, but or drop packages, but not as bad, and the playback's not it's pretty good. So yeah, this is doable, and as hopefully I can go back and not get flagged, but yeah, pretty cool. All right, this is some other things I want to show you real quick that comes with it. Is you do get Office, so you can do some documentation. You can do some file transfers. Remina, if I'm pronouncing it correctly. Anyway, this is a great program to connect to other devices via VNC, which I still need to make my video on. RDP, which I use extensively on all my images, because, you know, I do record on a Windows desktop. Right now we're using my capture device. That's why the video is a little bit off. It's weird for me to see putty on there. Graphics, we got GIMP on there. We'll just launch it just to show you that it's working. But yeah, this is pretty cool. The image, this is labeled as a beta, but compared to some of the other SBC images out there that I run, it is not a bad image. And as you can see, it's firing up pretty good. Hopefully everything will be fine, and then we'll go from there. Yep, there's GIMP. I used to make all kinds of little graphics when I did web design with GIMP. Okay, so now let's burn the Android image onto the disk. I'm going to do that off camera because I'm trying to make these videos less than an hour. Okay, so I want to show you guys something that I find a little bit easier than what Banana Pi org is showing. So they tell you to download the Phoenix tool from their site, but I actually have a different version. And if you go through the instructions here, this one actually wants you to plug up the device, okay, and then burn it. And I will show you that real quick. We'll go over here. We'll launch the tool that I just installed. See, it's looking for a device. This is another Phoenix card tool that I have. And believe it or not, as you guys can see, I have loaded up here the 12. And if I, you know, tell it to burn, it's going to burn it. So I hit here. It's formatting the card. And then this takes a while, but what's nice about this is when it's done, this is show you from the documentation that I have. Okay. You know, that's the card one that I'm running. It'll go through formats. It actually warns you that it can take 10, 2 to 10 minutes. And then once it's done, you put it into the device. And when you boot up, this is what I got. And believe it or not, I now have Android running on my BPi-M4 Berry. And we'll show the screen here in a second. It looks very beautiful. But yeah, I was very pleased to see that it booted up with no problems at all. Okay. So I just wanted to show you that there is a way that you can install the Android image onto there. And see, it's done. We'll hit exit and we're done. All right, so let me go ahead and I'm going to now boot up into Android and show you that. Okay, we looked at Ubuntu. Now we're going to look at Android. All right, so we're booting up the M4 Berry, and we are using the Android image this time. And as you can see, there's the nice Banana Pie logo. It looks very nice. And it boots up pretty fast. I'm using an Ethernet cable, and I have a keyboard mouse typed in. So the first thing, lovely little blue background, power speaker, our back arrow, our home arrow, any apps that have been up and running. And as you guys can see, I have been playing around with some stuff. Our settings. Okay. And I'm running the Android TV. It is version 12. And it's running pretty nice. And I'm doing this because later I want to see if I can get Google on there. But if you click on the build number and click 7 times, you can become a developer. So let's go back in. Now, one thing that I did notice, and I want to show you guys this. Banana Pie, thank you. And this is what I'm wanting to show off. They actually have the Aptoid TV installed. And one of the biggest problem with a lot of these small board computers is they want you to download Android and they want you to try it out. But getting files onto these boards, it's almost impossible unless you are a developer and you know how to do it. I'm not a developer. I'm a hobbyist enthusiast. So this is going to be really nice. And like I said, I have YouTube on there and we'll do a little playback. But this is to show you guys. You click on it. Again, I have Ethernet plugged up and you can go through and click on the categories. So probably what we want to try doing, just to see if it'll work, is get some emulation on here. Now, normally I don't like to show gaming just because I like to show how the boards can be used for, emulation and virtualization. But if we come down here and click on the apps, we should be able to go in there and find, games. Now, this is Android TV, so if you did come over here and try to, let's say your kid wants to play Minecraft, okay? They're not going to be able to, because Minecraft does not work on Android TV. So just want to give you fair warning about that. But this is pretty nice, the whole fact that you can now go into here and install some apps and be able to play that. That's really nice, okay? Which means hopefully getting True Google on here should be not a problem at all, okay? Now, one thing I would normally do is I have a nice, as you guys have seen from other videos, I have a real nice controller that I like to use, but for some odd reason I can't find it right now. Not a biggie, but we're gonna go around and do a video down the road once I can figure out what I can get working on here. I just want to give you guys a quick look that we can run apps on this. And for having only 2 gigs, the playback on this Berry is very nice. I mean, it's just phenomenal. I mean, you're seeing me click live and it's coming up, and my capture card really doesn't do justice. The clarity and all that is just really nice. And like I said, we'll do a little bit of playback. I'm just worried about the commercials and things like that. Okay, so let's go play a video, and I'm gonna turn the camera off for a second just so that I can select something, bypass the commercials, show you what it actually looks like. Alright, so I just wanted to show you guys, this is YouTube TV, and we're playing some videos from a nature theme, and the playback on this is phenomenal. And yeah, it's gonna look a bit choppy because I'm going through my video capture device, but the quality and the sound on this is phenomenal. Just to show you guys that it is YouTube TV, we'll hit the right mouse button, which takes us back, and as you guys can see, there are items that we can play. Okay, hit right mouse button again, and we're back at the Aptoid screen. But yeah, this is looking pretty cool. All right, so I got it in the caddy. We're gonna hook it up. So that's it for this video. Would like to hear some feedback. What would you like to see running on the BPi-M4 Berry? Retro games, video playback. You guys saw some of the stuff on Android TV, but I'd like to honestly hear. So leave a comment below and let me know, and I would greatly appreciate it. So until next time, peace.